Hi, this is Shoshana Burgett from Color Karma. I am here with Lori Sawaya, a color strategist.
Yep.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much as we're in our summer sheltered new world. For the audience, why don't you explain what a color strategist is and does?
A color strategist uses color DNA. We use color measurements to specify color for the built environment.
What attracted me to what you do and your Camp Chroma is the fact that you use color as a DNA. I've been saying something very similar for a while
Hmm.
because every single color beyond what we see has full spectral data to it. So it really does have a DNA strand, which is part of what you explain in your 4 pillars of color Camp Chroma course.
We can use that DNA as a framework to help us describe, define, and organize color. So it gives us a system that's consistent.
Your 4 pillars is very unique in terms of the color wheels that you have. It's the first time I've seen LCH, Munsell on top of each other giving direction for a color wheel.
Right. I found a white paper, I don't years ago, that correlated the Munsell hue families with
Mm-hmm.
LCH hue angles. And it's like,
Yep.
well, and since Munsell was the template for C-Lab and LCH, that's why they go together and that's why they work. Is it perfect? No, because to do the math, to do the transformation from C-Lab to a Munsell notation involves interpolation and a lookup table,
Mm-hmm.
but it works pretty darn good. It's going to get you in a range of maybe 8 to 10 degrees difference. And for our application, right, an interior design architectural color specification application, that works really well for us because we're the decision maker on the back end of all those numbers anyway. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not coloring by the numbers, right?
Yeah.
To the last degree. We need it as a framework, like I said, a system. So it provides us that process.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I put the two together. So the LCH hue angle is no longer abstract and meaningless when you correlate it to a Munsell hue family.
People are very familiar with the Munsell, and there's plenty of tools out there that walk you through what a Munsell is in 2D or 3D
Right?
if you have it. And so you take that science component and you help creatives, and in your case, it's interior designers, architecture, paint specialists,
Mm-hmm.
choose their colors more wisely and strategically and objectively.
And it's about time, like
Mm-hmm.
for a color design business, a color design workflow for interiors and exteriors, volume is key. The more clients you can handle, the more money you're going to make. So what was lacking, what was missing in the interior design space was that process and that system. And it's a constant debate kind of with approaching the color design aspect from an artistic point of
Mm-hmm.
view versus a scientific point of view. And my opinion is that it needs to be a blend of both. So it's that scientific objective framework um, superimposed on top of the artistic interpretation
Mm-hmm.
that gives you a business. It gives you a process and a system and a business so you can handle a volume of clients and actually make money.
And that's really important, right? It is, how do you grow your business as an interior designer? How do you increase your own capabilities and learning? And so you introduce them to this. And by doing so, you introduce the science. Now, to your point, right? We're not talking about developing new pigments or the scientific PhDs, but it's putting people on a path that is repeatable in developing colors and even articulating those colors to your customers and your clients. With interior, I've followed some of the things from some of your customers is you deal with a lot of neutrals, muted tones, and near neutrals, which is not necessarily the same thing as, say, a graphic or branding designer or an apparel color waves. You guys are unique in that interior.
That's true. And determining the hue family for those near neutrals and muted colors is different. Is sometimes difficult. Um, it's hard to discern what hue family a lot of those super low chroma colors belong to.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, there are all kinds of different methodologies that other people have developed to try to uh, create some kind of a process behind that. So you're not spending so much time trying to figure out what color it is that you're working with. And I'm like, when I saw that, it's like, hold on a second, this system already exists, and it's a lot more efficient and comprehensive than what some of these homespun kind of theory methodologies
Mm-hmm.
are, because it's the same system that's used to make the paint colors and the materials to begin with. So why aren't we leveraging that system to leveraging the system that's used to make the materials and paint to also specify the materials and paint?
And going back to Munsell, nothing is perfect as you go from an abstract scientific to a physical space of color, because our eyes are only see a certain limitation. But Munsell created that lovely color tree that really shows you that three-dimensional space you can work with. And
Right.
depending on the different lighting and the material and the gloss and finish, you're going to, even with the same pigments, you'll get different outputs or
Mm-hmm.
different um, experiences of that color on a wall, on a fabric, on a carpet, whatever the material will vary. So it's not just about color, it's about the objective point of view, the measurement point of view, but also what's the human experience with that color.
And in my space, in the interior design architectural consultant space, my students are usually bringing a certain degree of color sense, or I call it color mojo, to the table to begin with. So I tell them that this framework of color DNA is like a jungle gem for their color mojo. And it's not prescriptive, it's not formulaic, it's simply a framework to define, describe, and organize color for you. So you can take it from there creatively.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I tell them, and I remind them over and over, is the data doesn't interpret itself. It requires a creative human linchpin to
Yep.
analyze it and then apply it. So a lot of people from the outside see all of these numbers and these letters and, the quantification of color, and they think it's way too prescriptive and too rigid of a system to be creative. And it's like, it's really quite the opposite, because it articulates color for you. So you don't have to worry about all of those, the minutia and the details of color characteristics in and of themselves. That's all handled for you. You can just focus on being creative. It's something that's hard to explain, and sometimes people don't get it until they actually experience it and do it. So it's
Yeah,
kind of a hard conversation.
and I can empathize, because as part of my years of background in color and Pantone and color printing and production, it's it color is a religion. It is has such
Religion.
emotion to it,
Mm-hmm.
and people interpret the science of you're taking their creativity away. And I like how you positioned it of it's a framework, because when you work within a certain guardrails, you actually have more creativity than trying to spend all this time outside what's capability, and wasting all that energy when you're going to end up inside the same guardrail. So start off with a clean area that you can specify and work with, and then define those colors there.
Exactly. It's just more efficient. And again, that's really crucial if you're trying to build a business around it.
And your course is, I think you said, about 16 or 18 hours, so it's a really in-depth course. And
Yep.
I've seen many of them. This is a really nice in-depth course. You have testing of each one. And I love the interactive, so I get to cut and paste if you're a crafty person. I got my glue dots, I got that. And then you include these wonderful stickers. And I love the fact that you have your D65 lighting on the back, right?
Yeah.
So that you're constantly reminding people of, are you viewing this color in the right light? Because if you're viewing it in the wrong light and you approve it, That's nobody's fault but your own,
Yeah,
right?
it also helps demonstrate that the light does affect color appearance. So that's kind of what I put it on the back there. It's like try to trade this out in different under different kind of lighting and see what happens to the sticker, and it helps them better understand. That happens to paint colors too.
Now, you've been doing this through since 2016.
Right.
You can sign up for the class at Camp Chroma, right?
CampChroma.com. Mm-hmm.
Or you can go to colorkarma.com under Gizmos and Color Education. You can go right there as well. And like I said, it's about a 16 or 18, and you get a certificate at the end, correct?
Right, you get a certificate and a badge if you want to put a badge on your website. A lot of designers like to put that down there in the footer of their website
Right.
to indicate that they've had some color training.
And you also manage a Facebook group for your graduates as well.
We do. We have it's a private Facebook community where you can go in there and ask questions about the course or really anything color related. And other students who have been through the course and have been applying it to their business are happy to answer questions and share their experiences. And so it's just a source of support ongoing after the course. So you just don't finish the course and you're left hanging.
I am just through the beginning of this course, so I am excited to continue it and tinker with more of the tools and all the fun things you've shipped me to play with. And it's been fascinating, like I said, from coming from a design background, a science background, which I had to take those RGB courses and in RIT and write all those RGB and LAB values and LCH values by hand and do the math to
Wow.
how simple is this? This is
Yeah.
so wonderful and such a great way to communicate what you're
Thank
doing,
you.
and a great tool for those interior designers, those painters, those color material specialists, things of that nature. And you carry it around and it's easy peasy, guys. Science is not scary
It's
and
not.
color is fun. So come on board. Um,
Exactly.
Lori, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. I'm always happy to talk color anytime.
Anytime. This is Shoshana Burgett from colorkarma.com. Take care.